education consulting company called Bloomsboro here in Toronto, as I'm sure Waleed outlined in his introduction. And I'm looking forward today to just telling you about all the great services our company has to offer to help you come to Canada and study at Canadian universities.
Okay, first of all, let me ask you to walk us through the three major elements that you will help the Iraqi students specifically when it comes to finding a placement, a position in a university in Canada. What kind of offers do you have in your organization, and how do you process, expedite, speed up the whole process of taking the students from Iraq into Toronto or Canada, or any one of the states in Canada? Would you please enlighten us on that part?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. So the first step is to contact one of our education agents in Iraq to set up an intake. Once we get the intake from you, and the form is also available on Waleed's website or on Bloomsboro's website, you can fill in the intake form, then you meet with one of our education agents. We look at your educational background, and then we select the program in Canada that is best suited for you. There's two things we select for: not only the best academic program for you, but most importantly, what is the best academic program that will maximize your chance of being accepted for a Canadian visa?
Perfect.
And then once you've been accepted into the program, our in-house immigration consultants will help you apply for the visa application. And then once you get accepted for a visa, we also have services that can assist setting up travel for you to come to Canada. And then while you're waiting for the visa, we also have online IELTS tutoring support, as well as course-specific language training to help you prepare for your courses when you arrive in Canada.
بالنسبة للمتابعين اللي يشوفون البث المباشر حالياً، إذا عندكم أي استفسار محدد بخصوص الدراسة بكندا، فإحنا جاهزين نوجه السؤال مباشرة لتايلر بهذا الخصوص، أو نجاوبكم عليه يعني برسالة على الفيسبوك بيج الخاصة بي، أو تقدر تكتبوا بالتعليقات. Now, Mr. Tyler, would you please tell me a little bit about the type of study in an academic or graduate program in Canada? How do you start taking the students from Iraq and then placing them in a Canadian university? What kind of process does it take to bring the students? Are there any specific difficulties when it comes to processing their visas or their admission at the university? Do you have any partnership with universities in Canada?
Those are all great questions. We have partnerships with universities all across Canada in many different fields. And when a student applies, we utilize those partnerships, and we immediately get in touch with our partners to try and get them into a suitable program. And also, some students would like to live in a big city or a smaller community. For some people, we can't guarantee where they will be placed in Canada, but we try and accommodate the needs of the students. Also, the most important thing to focus on when you're applying is a high IELTS score. That is really, really important. I know a lot of people don't like writing the IELTS. I certainly would not enjoy writing the IELTS, but it's not as scary as it sounds. And I can't emphasize how important it is to have a solid IELTS score. That will significantly increase your chances of getting acceptance into a Canadian university.
Language learning in general in the Canadian states, how do you approach language learning, especially when it comes to bringing a student from a non-native English-speaking context into Canada? How do you go about that kind of scenario?
Well, we have several methods. One of the methods, while the student is still in their home country, such as Iraq, we have online tutoring, and that tutoring can be one-on-one, or it can be in a group of 4 or 5 students, or it can even be in a larger Zoom format with several dozen students. We focus on things like conversational English, reading, writing, and speaking skills. But the reading, writing, speaking, and conversational skills that we focus on are geared towards academic environments. So we're not just teaching you abstract concepts, It's how can you feel comfortable in the English language when you're at university? And we also have program-specific learning. So if you're applying to a master's program in business, then we can tailor it to an MBA and the type of language you would have in that program.
Okay, we have a person, one of the viewers here on our Facebook page. They're asking a few questions. One of them is by Mazen. He's asking about the minimum IELTS score that is required to get a suitable admission in one of the Canadian universities.
That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking that, Mazen. Usually you're looking at a minimum IELTS score of a 7. That is the target I would focus on. However, there are universities that... Sorry?
The higher, the better.
I agree. Sorry, I had a bit of a delay there. Yes, the higher, the better, for sure. A minimum of a 7. That being said, it is possible to get into some universities with an IELTS score of 6.5. But generally speaking, you're aiming for at least a 7 or higher.
Okay, another question by Ahmed Majid. He's asking about the cost of studying for a master and a language course. And this is probably hard to answer right now because there are a few auxiliary costs that can be combined in addition to the health insurance and your accommodation, the type of accommodation, the kind of services and utilities that you are going to have in your accommodation, in addition to the university fees and whether that's going to be on campus accommodation or off campus. There are a few options out there. But if you have any specific question about the costs, Ahmed, please shoot me a message on my Facebook page. I will send you more details about it, but general details, not very specific details, because we cannot funnel that down before we decide the university. And allow me, Tyler, to answer on your behalf this specific question, specifically talking about the university fees. It is very hard right now because we need to specify the university, the department, the kind of campus that you're looking for, whether it's in the middle of the city or it's on the suburbs, the kind of major that you're trying to study. There are so many aspects that we should bear in mind before considering the final amount of cost that we calculate based on the university or based on any specific department. It is really hard to provide a definitive cost in the beginning. We need to decide on the specific things here that I already mentioned. Mazen is asking whether it's 7 out of 9, and it is 7 out of 9. Yeah, that is definitely the answer. Okay, Mr. Tyler, are there any other things that you like to tell us about regarding your organization, the kind of activities that you've been doing? How and why do you specifically focus on the Iraqi region? And what are you looking after, getting the students out of Iraq and into Canada? What kind of facilitation are you going to provide?
Well, that's a great question. Those are great questions. Thank you, Waleed. Iraq is one of the world's most educated countries. There's certainly no shortage of academics in Iraq who are certainly more than qualified to come to Canadian universities. So Canadian universities are looking for that talent. We're looking for your skills and your academic abilities. They're very desirable here in Canada. So that's one reason we're focused on the Iraqi market. Also, how can we facilitate you coming to Canada? Once you have gained acceptance at a university, once we have processed your visa application, and once you have been accepted, we can also arrange travel services, airline services to get you from Iraq to wherever you need to go in Canada. We have a travel agent that will take care of that. And we also have education agents on the ground in Canada who will set up and help you arrange all of your accommodation. So while you're still in Iraq, we can help you look for rental accommodation. We can help you look for student housing. So when you arrive in Canada, you won't have anything to worry about. You can just jump in a car and go right to your accommodation. We can even arrange the Uber, or we can even arrange a pickup from the airport to take you to your accommodation.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, this is very important aspect that you've just highlighted regarding the immigration and getting the visa from the embassy or the consulate in Iraq, and then processing all the paperwork. That's a lot of work actually to be done by one organization in Canada. We appreciate the amount of effort that you're putting together to piece things together and make it more sustainable and more feasible to the bigger crowd. Especially, we have a huge population who are interested in studying abroad, especially after 2003. There's this kind of surge of people who are looking forward to get and or obtain any kind of scholarship or assistantship or graduate assistantship program in Canada or in the United States. The major focus has been since 2003 on the United States. It bore the heaviest amount of people who applied to scholarships and assistantships there. And Canada is taking the role right now. They're opening their campuses to welcome Iraqi, specialists and talented and geniuses, and those people who are interested in pursuing their higher education, because everybody knows that the Canadian universities provide very prestigious and cutting edge kind of education with, of course, guaranteed, hiring later on and finding good job opportunities in there. Do you think that the students who might apply for a master or bachelor degree there get a chance to have, number of hours of work on campus or off campus along with his, studying there in Canada, Tyler?
Absolutely. So when you get a student visa and you come to Canada and you're studying, you're allowed to work a certain number of hours per month, usually on campus. It depends on the type of program you're in, but there are definitely a lot of work opportunities, usually restricted to at the university, but there's no shortage of academic programs, research opportunities that the student can get involved in.
Perfect. Now, tell me a little bit about the system of education on the universities that you had partnership with. How did that happen? And how is that going to help Iraqi students applying through your organization?
Well, our major focus in our organization is to get people acceptance into a Canadian university as fast as possible. And having these relationships with the universities, we can facilitate that acceptance much faster. If you're just sitting at home and you apply to a Canadian university, you could be looking at an acceptance time of several months, which is realistic. Even with Bloomsboro, sometimes a program will take several months to get into. There's only so much control that we can exercise in the process. Generally speaking, though, we like to get students into programs as quickly as possible. So what is the benefit of going with us? The acceptance is significantly faster. Another benefit, we know how to navigate the complex application systems at universities. Even as a native English speaker born in Canada, I understand and I find the process is very challenging. And that's why Bloomsboro takes the stress out of the application process.
We know very, very much that the process of application to any campus in Canada or the United States is a little bit cumbersome. From the beginning to the end, there are so many things that people should bear in mind and complete process or apply, especially when it comes to the admission essays and the writing and all the kind of stuff that are ancillary to that part. I would like to ask you to send me the names of the universities that you have partnership with, so I can, once the broadcast is over, I can put them in there so people who are interested in applying through your organization can check out their majors to see if they have any opportunity in these universities and if they can find their major in there, so they can, that's gonna, cut it short for them to apply through the organization. Any final words that you like to comment on when it comes to application? And I'm sorry, I'm asking you cluster questions here. Do you have any final thoughts about the process and the facilitation and the fees, and whether you're going to consider the crisis that is going on in Iraq and other countries when it comes to the commission fees of application?
Just a few final thoughts there. So I'm more than happy to share the list of universities with you. However, there might be universities you're interested in, or there might be universities that are the right fit for you that we don't have a partnership with. Just because we don't have a partnership with them doesn't mean we can facilitate access to them for you.
Okay.
So for instance, if there is a specific program, maybe it's a university we normally don't work with, that is Bloomsboro's job to continually reach out and to continually network with these universities to find the right program for you. Now, we realize these are tough economic times with COVID-19. It's hurting all of us around the world. Bloomsboro has adjusted our prices accordingly. We have very competitive price points. We have lowered them a little bit in response to the COVID-19 crisis because we understand it's a challenging time financially. And the last thing I would like to mention, there's a lot of misinformation out there right now about applying to universities in Canada. Many people think, well, there's COVID-19 right now, the universities are closed, I shouldn't bother applying, I should wait. I want to let you know that all Canadian universities are open. The physical campuses are closed.
Yeah,
but
they're open virtually.
They're still open. All of the students are still taking classes. They're just doing them online temporarily until COVID is over. But all the admissions systems are wide open. So we really, really encourage you to apply now before the travel restrictions are lifted, because the longer you wait, the bigger the backlog is going to be with getting visas.
Okay, great. I'll راح أتحدث allow me to switch to Arabic here. اللي مهتم بالحصول على مقعد دراسي بالبكالوريوس أو الماجستير أو الدكتوراه ممكن يقدم عن طريق رابط المنظمة. عندهم استبيان تقدر تملي ويخلونك بالديتابيس، وعلى ضوء هذا الاستبيان تقدر تسوي application للجامعة اللي تريدها. The only thing that I want, Tyler, right now from you is to provide me a list of tentatively 10-15 universities that might be prospectively of an interest to you when it comes to looking for placements to the Iraqi students. So I can put them in the ad here. And also I will add from my side the questionnaire that you sent me, and do a little bit of promotion for this video on my page, tell people a little bit about it, and also stay in touch with you. I will be in touch with you when it comes to finding any updates regarding the applicants. I hope everything goes well. I hope you're going to have a wonderful day for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for this short interview.
You're very welcome.
Not going to be the last one. Promise I'm going to make another one very soon where we can talk elaboratively about other aspects of the application process, and probably come up with a kind of template to showcase how students can apply from point A to point Z, and how they can complete it and then secure a good placement in one of the Canadian universities. Tyler, thank you so much for this wonderful interview, and looking forward to talk to you very soon.
Thank you, Walid, and to everyone watching, good night.
Have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.